It's on again. Penny Wong and Paul Keating. Foreign Minister Penny Wong says war in the Taiwan Strait would be catastrophic and there would be no winners. Live to Olivia Casely in Canberra. Olivia, Senator Wong says the strategic contests in Asia can't be downplayed.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew, but I'm just going to take you to some comments that we've now seen from former Prime Minister Paul Keating. So he's released a statement in response to Senator Wong's address to the National Press Club today. So Senator Wong basically today said that Mr Keating had diminished his legacy with these pretty spicy remarks he made about the AUKUS nuclear submarine deal. So during that speech, Mr Keating really lashed the plan to spend $368 billion on a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines. He described it as the worst deal in all history, and he also ridiculed the Foreign Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles. Now, I'm just going to read to you some of his response here. He said, as a middle power, Australia is now straddling a strategic divide, a divide rapidly becoming every bit as rigid as that which obtained in Europe in 1914. Australia's major foreign policy task is to soften that rigidity by encouraging both the United States and China to find common cause and benefit in a peaceful and prosperous Pacific. Nothing, Penny Wong said today on Australia's behalf, adds one iota of substance to that urgent task. So another spicy response there from Mr Keating. Now, I'll just take you to what happened today at the National Press Club. So Senator Wong, she said that events in the Indo-Pacific cannot simply be seen as just two great powers such as China and the US competing for primacy. And she said it was really her job, and in fact, the job of all foreign ministers to really lower the heat when it comes to the likelihood of China invading Taiwan. She called for issues to be resolved peacefully through dialogue and said that Australia, as a middle power, had an important role to play in reducing or easing those tensions. Senator Wong did acknowledge comparisons between now and the 1930s, but really emphasised that Australia is not hostage to history.
We call for the peaceful resolution of cross-strait issues through dialogue without the threat or use of force or coercion. Because let me be absolutely clear, a war over Taiwan would be catastrophic for all. We know that there would be no real winners, and we know maintaining the status quo is comprehensively superior to any alternative.
And here is Senator Wong addressing that National Press Club address from former Prime Minister Paul Keating last month.
I think on Mr Keating, what I would say is this. I think in tone and substance, he diminished both his legacy and the subject matter.
And Olivia, Penny Wong made some interesting comments about a Labor election commitment to sign a treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, so she wouldn't provide a timeline on the possible signing of that treaty and didn't answer whether Australia had given any undertakings to both the US or UK considering the AUKUS nuclear submarine deal. The US and other nuclear-armed countries are staunchly against this treaty, which basically prohibits the stockpiling, testing and use of nuclear weaponry. However, on the other hand, this treaty is strongly backed by a lot of Australia's closest geographical neighbours, including Indonesia and New Zealand. Here is what Senator Wong had to say.
We share the objective of a world that is free of nuclear weapons. We do believe that the best pathway for that is to ensure that the Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT, is acted upon and is.
So Mr Keating has levelled more criticism at the Albanese government's handling of foreign relations today. It'll be interesting to see whether Senator Wong weighs in, Andrew.